In Serbia, the concept of chivalry has its ancient roots. I will be free to mention that the first chivalry originated after the Vinča culture period. 30 years ago, according to the oldest calendar in the world, the Serbian calendar, where the first war occurred and the retreat of our ancestors to the mountains. What is it really about? Suddenly from the region of Scythia, around the Black Sea, a warrior class of giants known as the Nephilim set out to conquer in all directions. The peaceful culture of our ancestors, which we call Vinča, knew the use of metal. For example, knitting needles made of 100% iron are known, just to mention that it is impossible to make with modern technology. Then there is a sudden transformation of the Proto-Serb culture into a warrior culture. The production of swords begins, the quality of which was very close to today's steel. And the first conflicts between the Proto-Serbs and the race of giants begin. Proto-Serbs, being very tall and strong under various leaders, on 3 occasions set out to fight and suppress the Nephilim. For example, the second campaign to the east under Serbian coincided with the invasion and war of Joshua against the Nephilim in today's Palestine. Thus, the Nephilim found themselves in an environment between the encroaching Israelite army under Joshua from the south and the Proto-Serbs from the north. Proto-Serbs with King Serbian moved troops in the direction north of Israel, through Syria all the way to India, and the remnants of the Nephilim retreated towards Sicily, Malta, Ireland, and America. This is confirmed not only by folklore, but also by Slavic historical mythology, which records that the Proto-Serbs fought against the Snake Queen of Babylon, and against a race of evil demonic giants. Therefore, the root of the word knight, vites, itself has its deep, ancient origin. This is also the reason why the vast majority of Serbian kings were also knights with exceptional military and tactical skills. It is known that among the few mercenaries from the time of Stefan Dušanski and Dušan the Mighty, several of them were knighted. According to a stone tablet in the church in Treviso, in 1304, King Milutin girded an Italian warrior with a knight's belt. The games of chivalry are encountered in the Serbian environment in Alexandrida, a novel about Alexander the Great. This literary composition prescribes the customs of medieval chivalry to the time of Alexander the Great. The purpose of the exercises and competitions was to prepare for warrior vocation and practice in archery. The word, tournament, comes from the Serbian term, turnati, or to race. In this way, tournaments of young knights were created in order to test their own skills in relation to more experienced knights. Constantine the philosopher also talks about the spread of chivalry, how one of the despot's knights received a crown of victory in front of the king at the assembly of all the princes. The place no doubt refers to the tournament. So, it can be said that on the basis of those chivalric games, the now legendary Milan Toplica emerged as the best archer in Europe. Ivan Kosancic as the best swordsman of Serbia with 2 swords and Miloš Obilić as the most skilled with a spear. That's why Serbia, having its roots from ancient times, already had an established chivalric status and chivalric spirit, which was widespread and respected. Observance of chivalric etiquette, dating back to epic times. The basic rules of competition of proper combat without trickery. King Knight Marko Mrnjavčević used to say after the fight with regret and guilt, "Why I defeated someone better than me." In addition to real combat, the knightly games consisted of measuring the skill in throwing a mace, throwing a spear from a horse or from a jump, shooting at a target with an arrow, and the skill of fighting without weapons. The most important companions of each knight were a horse, a dragon dog called Sylvan, and a falcon. A knight's combination of orthodox Christian values, loyalty to ancestors, ancient roots, solid character, physical appearance, strength, and level of skill was valued. All this was nurtured within the family. The decadence of chivalry begins at the turn of the 14th and 15th centuries in Europe as well. Knightly orders become interest groups, political and military in nature, as a consequence of the regionalization of Europe, the fragmentation of fiefdoms. Thus, the Hungarian king Sigismund of Luxembourg, with the help of the despot Stefan Lazarevich, founded the Order of the Dragon, the Green Dragon, in order to defend his throne from the dissatisfied nobility. And through the order, he networked with the surrounding rulers of that order. Serbian Emperor Dušan the Mighty made a similar move century ago, when he founded the secret knightly Order of the Red Dragon. The reason was the same. Everything culminated in the revolt of the nobility against King Sigismund, whom they managed to capture. Salvation for the king came from the Serbian side. Knight and brother-in-law of despot Stefan Lazarevich, Nikola II Goryansky, managed to free the king with the knights and reach an agreement between the king and his nobility. Despot Stefan Lazarevich was, all things considered, the best knight of all time. He was a great diplomat and military leader, extremely strong and highly educated. After the Battle of Angora in 1402, he once again made the Serbian state independent. He gained knightly authority in battles. His basic principle was to achieve victory with as few dead and wounded as possible. Even in the battle against Tamerlane, which Sultan Bayezid loses, Stefan manages to win the battle in all parts of the battlefield to reach Bayezid to release him, but allegedly Bayezid refuses out of pride and is captured. He pays special attention to martial arts and reforming the army. He founds his own school of knightly martial arts. Thus, he becomes famous in Western countries, and a role model for young knights, who travel a long way to the despot Stefan so that he can train them and produce them into knights. Despot Stefan radically corrected the military composition. He abolished feudal detachments and introduced a regular, standing army. No one was freed from military duty, even if he tried to build monasteries and help them in the most beautiful tradition of Nemanjić. The first levies taxes on monasteries, in order to have money to support and arm his standing, well-armed, well-trained and well-motivated army. Despot Stefan Lazarevich was a member and co-founder of the famous Knightly Order of the Dragon, which was established on December 12, 1408 by the Hungarian king Sigismund of Luxembourg. This order was completely different from the Serbian Knightly Order of the Red Dragon. There were 24 members of the First Order of the Order of the Dragon, and the despot Stefan Lazarevich was in first place. The members of this order had the right to display on their coat of arms a green dragon, holding its neck with its tail and with a red cross on its folded wings. The highest member of the order was the Serbian despot Stefan, and he could appoint knights himself. Constantine the philosopher knew that the despot had the right to raise kings and knights to knighthood, and that they were very proud of that, saying, "The despot gave me knighthood." One perhaps humorous example, but certainly a good description of the decadence of chivalry, happened on Christmas Day 1435 in Pristina. group of merchants from Dubrovnik went out to the horse racing field. The usual festival, in which the knights galloped several times with a spear on a gauntlet, which had to be hit with a spear. The celebration erupted into a fight. Two knights quarreled. One of them chased the other with a horse and spear, who defended himself by drawing a bow and arrow. Tasovac Radmilović was wounded. He rebelled, saying that he was not from Dubrovnik but a subject of a despot. He complained to Kefali of Oliver from Pristina, probably Oliver Priesta. As a punishment, the merchants had to pay bail for one of the imprisoned Dubrovnik merchant. It is likely that the punishment was related to money betting on knights, which was apparently prohibited by law. With the collapse of the Serbian state, many knights retreated among the people, becoming part of it, but also passing on their fighting systems to the people, which are remembered to this day, through the martial art called Sistema.